Communities are at the heart of the global AIDS response and always have been, and that's true for the last 40 years. And what's really great about the new global AIDS strategy that runs from 2021 to 2026 is that formally communities are really at the heart. And that's so important for so many reasons. Because we know that without putting communities in leadership roles, we are not going to get to our common goal of ending AIDS as a public health threat by 2030. So there's a few really important things that communities do that nobody else can do. The first thing, of course, is to talk about community-led responses. What we know from the 40 years of activism is that the responses that work best are the responses that communities themselves lead. And that's because nobody knows, nobody understands the ways in which HIV impacts on communities better than communities themselves. And we need to also dig deeper and say communities are not a monolithic group. They're made up of all different key populations. And so it's absolutely important that we pay attention to each of these groups and put them in the leadership of responses that are going to work for them. Community-led monitoring, which is one aspect of community-led responses, is absolutely critical because that's how communities hold governments and the rest of us to account for what we are and are not doing well in the response. And this is an absolutely critical role for communities. I also think it's absolutely fantastic that the new global AIDS strategy has a real machine for insisting on community-led responses. And these are the 30, 80, 60 targets as they're known, which formally mean that 30% of all testing and treatment needs to be delivered by communities. The really important part, two other parts too, it means on the prevention front, 80% of prevention interventions for communities must be delivered by communities. And that's true in all their diversity. So that means, for example, that prevention for women needs to be led by women-led organizations, and for youth needs to be led by youth-led organizations, and so on. And the 60% target is also really important. And that is that 60% of the interventions designed to achieve the societal enablers also have to be delivered by communities. So really, these targets are a critical commitment to ensuring that communities and community-led responses are at the center of everything that we do.